I kind of started out blogging more just as a hobby than anything. I also like to write. Um, I'm in the mortgage business, and as anybody knows, the mortgage business has been, shall we say, a bit tumultuous the last couple of years. It's probably a nice way to put it. Um, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to start a blog just to give me a place to talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the mortgage world. You know, just more of a hobby type of thing than anything at first. And it's been interesting the way that it has grown over the time. You know, for the first 6 months, I probably had 5 to 10 people a day stop by and check. Now I'm getting anywhere from, on average, 100 to 200 a day. I've been quoted in the New York Times. I've been quoted in U.S. News and World Report. I've been quoted on Bankrate.com. And it has opened up so many opportunities and avenues for me to meet with, to interact with, to educate people, to share my views of what's going on in the mortgage world. I think it's helped to establish my expertise in the field, you know, because I'm not just talking about fluff, and I'm not just talking about, you know, yeah, it's a great time to buy a house, like the National Association of Realtors always says, but it's, okay, here's some cold, hard facts of this is what's going on. You know, the Fed is doing this, and this is what it means for the housing market. I've developed relationships with real estate professionals and others. I'm currently working on potential deals in Texas. Well, actually, not in Texas. I could if we were licensed there, but I'm not. In South Carolina, in Georgia, in New York, in Colorado, you know, in Washington State, you know, it's just exploded exponentially, my reach and the number of people who say, oh yeah, I know that Vanderwell guy, he's in mortgages. If you break it down, what, you know, into probably two main things that, you know, starting up my blog and running that has done for me is, one, it's expanded my perceived expertise in the market. You know, and I say perceived because it hasn't, you know, the actual, my knowledge hasn't changed. It's just that more people know, oh, you gotta listen to Vanderwell. He knows, you know, he kind of knows what he's talking about. And it's opened up a much wider market for me. You know, it used to be that nobody out of West Michigan knew who this Vanderwell guy was and would think about getting a mortgage from him. Now there are people all over the country who are at least thinking about, yeah, maybe this Vanderwell guy ought to be a good guy to get a mortgage from. I'm not a typical mortgage lender. You know, typical mortgage lenders are ones who, you know, and I'm going to be very stereotypical about it, but they're salespeople. They're pushing more debt, and you know, their main concern is to try and move dollars. Because basically, what does a mortgage lender do? He sells money. You know, I'll sell you $100,000 in return for $650 a month for the rest of your life. Well, you know, or something of that sort. And I don't look at it that way. I look at it as saying, okay, there's very few people in this country who could actually go out and buy a house without having to borrow some money. There are some, but not very many. So mortgages are in many ways a necessary evil. If you want to own a home, you're going to need a mortgage. Well, my view of it is okay, if you need one, then I want to help you get the right one